those interesting questions at the end. And
well, thanks for asking and answering.
I really enjoyed all your poetry, but I also really like crows. And this morning, one of them came swooping past me and sat on a planter so I could get a shower in my garden. Happy to see it. I'm going to start the reading with a selection from Randonnée. And that's the middle section of my book, and it's set in Grenoble, and it has subheadings for Dans le Quartier in the neighborhood and Sur la Montagne on the mountain. And I'm reading from this, what I think is a beautiful artist book that I was lucky enough to be able to create with the painter Julie Bonnier from Minnesota. And it's excerpts from that one. So randonnées refers to long walks or rambles, and there's a network of walking trails that extends throughout France, which is known as Les Grandes Randonnées. 1. Dans le Quartier, Grenoble, June. The place does not matter much, nor how I arrived, nor how I leave. Leaving, arriving, among the stand of trees in midday domesticity and the well-practiced arts. I live in the quarter of chemists, Lavoisier, Gay-Lussac, Berthelot, who watched walnut oil turn rancid for 8 months and 10 days. As thunder rolls through the mountains, it is easy to settle here, not to move. Difficult to find a trajectory through the crowd. The given and the random are where I begin. 2. Dans le Quartier. Stones in my shoes and the sound of wind and spade leaves. Wet on a summer evening, the vines still at rest and honey for sale. Flat white tiles curve around the brasserie. I slow down to see a rose of Sharon-dotted pyramid, a tree and a well. Fingers of willow, fir, fingers of fern. 3. Sur la Montagne. Sweat, sweat, sweat up the mountain. What is the word for path? Sentier. I remember only piste, trail. What is the difference between trail and path? A trail is more directed, harder won, harder worn. A path meanders. In and out of the regional museum, I wander past the closed gates of houses, stiff, upright, iron. In the haze below rests home. I pluck wild oregano from the stairs. A slow rhythm takes hold, the cautious intimacy of middle age, where much still needs to be said, and it is still necessary to say it. 7. Dans le Quartier. Twilight comes in season, a shot of blood-orange streaks from the dent de crole, ragged tooth, rag and bone, tooth and bone, the green turns blue. I'm aligned with the white panels that curve around the stage I have created to pleasure out this dance. Commands are not living here under the unseen Pleiades in midday quiet. 12. Dans le Quartier. Calm, slow movements among the babies' cry. Soft cones drop. Clouds slip between stones. The swallow chatter trembles. Along the wall there is a thinning. No one is here. Alone in the hum of this small place I chose when it appeared large, an upward thrust of green needles. I lean out over the balcony and the sea is infinitely far. 16. Sur la Montagne. With the imminent past, I walk up in cold and down in cold, but with sweat on my brow, remove coat, vest, scarf, make this nearly final effort, pass through bedroom alcoves, piles of burnt and unburnt trash, stench and fear. I I prepare an offering if it is needed and try to keep my skull from the stone. I am surrounded now by gold leaves shaking in the wind, the emptiness of the season, from which I take my final shots. A faraway, ice-covered rock pokes its face at me, not enough to quench the pink clarity in this gravid morning of indulgences. I blanch in the absent sun, the crystal-hung haze filled with smoke. My watch has stopped. 19. Sur la montagne et dans le quartier, Chamrus and Grenoble. My last day on this mountain, I am alone and pursued by a shadow. I have risen above the clouds, away from that distant wall of rock and its habitations that was my shelter for a few months. Nearly no one is here in this deserted resort, only a class of children almost the same age as mine, and some French and English students. At moments, everything separates, moves away from what I have imposed and claims its own. A solitary man intervenes in the sunset. We depart back to a country shaken by its self-made crisis. Now they quieten themselves before Noel, stunned and timid. The quarter is again just a tram stop, a cold place to rush past, a dark pyramid, a lighted circle. What I want receives me in a few small rooms. So I'm going to read a few more poems from the last section of the book. A couple of them draw on my background as a scientist and events of significance in that sphere. This first one is Man on the Moon. Man on the moon as well as in the moon. I watched the Taliban in a suffocating Texas classroom while Neil Armstrong descended a ladder onto a shiny surface in a temperature-controlled suit, taking Earth's atmosphere with him. A rabbit in the moon, but not on the moon, lucky to be sucked up into that brilliance, soft foot stroking the cheek of my childhood. Someone back in mission control in a super cool room squawked, "MCC here." Buzz followed next, a real 50s name for a real 60s moment. Michael Collins stayed above in orbit, not to be captivated by rock and dust. Stolen silver brilliance again in your departure gone, shunting moonlight through a vein, day eating up night beside me on the pillow now. This next poem is not a science one. It's something that I wrote after attending the CBEC haiku getaway in Washington State. It's called Last Light. I walk a double spiral made of ropes, twigs, mouse skeletons, guided by an electric candle's erratic flicker, where the first shall be last and the last first. A random juggling of those who pass through one gate and out the next, only to find themselves back where they started, in a celestial case of bush panic. I just walked in a circle, didn't I? They say, trying to find a way out of the woods, getting nowhere before dark, asking, is this the Day of the Dead? Did I pass this way once before? More than once? Music meanders through the labyrinth, seeking its key. I hear the call, shoo, shush, there on the ground, the key. The last poem I'd like to read is to a lecture by a man who had worked with Carl Sagan on the Cosmos series, and he was doing some art installations. He had been responsible for the graphics in the show. And he was doing one about the Milky Way, and he commented that the Kalahari term he had learned for Milky Way is backbone of the night. Backbone of the night. I grow thin in the dark matter that torques the arms of the galaxy and spews forth particles of light like foam on the crest of an ocean wave. I grow thin in Vancouver, surrounded by abundance, and on the streets of Bangkok clogged with water and traffic. I grow thin in Durban with dust dogging my heels, the crunch of my steps on gravel, like the sound of static from the interstices of stars. I grow thin in San Francisco and New York from the exchange of blood and secret yearnings. I grow thin in the jails of New Orleans and Angola prison from my own ignorance and from others. I will grow thin until the day comes to lie on the ground, look up at the backbone of the night, and ask the earth to accept my geometry. So, that's the reading portion. And it's really great and a little intimidating to be here with these other teachers, writers, fellow writers who have such great respect for. But I'll talk a little bit about my process. I think it was nice to have a little longer to stretch out at this kind of reading and be able to read Randomese, which I rarely do, read any portions of it. And walking and observing, and particularly walking, are really important for my writing. Observing comes along with the ride, so to speak. Happens less and less. When I was younger, I felt some poems were gifts from the universe, but most require adoption of some kind of discipline. And so Randomese was written as a conscious exercise to go once a week, walk around my neighborhood, and once a month walk up to the top of the mountain, and then come back and write from that experience. So that was how that happened. I think there's always the generative part and the revision part in poetry. One of the helpful things for the generative part for me has been a workshop I do online with a poet in Toronto named Hua Nguyen. And I don't know, maybe some others of you have done that, but you just read one poet for many weeks, and she just goes around the room and has people read. And then at the end of an hour of reading that poet, she gives some prompts, and you write from those prompts. And I think she's really gifted at doing that. And I've been introduced to wonderful poets that I wasn't familiar with before, like Harriet Mullen, Joan Kiger. And anyway, that's been useful. Journaling, recording dreams, and putting myself in some kind of different environment is often helpful. Community is important, especially for revision. I have a writing group. But I would say my favorite interactions are to get together one-on-one with another writer and exchange work and just talk about ideas about poetry. And other than that, I can only say, as anyone who writes poetry usually finds, the process is long. So, and I have one other, I'm going to talk about something else I'm interested in, but I don't know, do we want to talk, well, should I go ahead with that? Or?
Sure, whatever you feel like. You can do questions or, yeah.
Okay. I thought, well, Going down to Seattle tomorrow to see the opera Carmen. And I just wanted to talk about how opera has been important to me in my life. When I was growing up in Texas, we were not exactly an opera listening family. And my father did expose me a little bit to classical music, but they had this great school program. And of course, it speaks to how important these kind of programs are in schools, that they took all the third graders to an opera. And I was in Austin, probably the Dallas Opera King. And I saw the opera Turandot. And I was completely overwhelmed by the spectacle and the music, and I just fell in love with it. And I probably didn't have much exposure again until I was married and living in Toronto, and my husband was an opera lover, and I was just recovering from a pretty awful experience in graduate school. And so for months, all I did was read and go to the library, check out books, read, check out vinyl copies of opera, and this was my therapy until I got better. So I listened to a lot of opera, and although I left that marriage behind, I didn't entirely leave my love of opera behind, although it was something that waxed and waned, and I could only indulge in it in kind of an episodic way. But in recent years, I've managed to get to see the Wagner Ring Cycle in New York, which was staged by Robert Lepage, and the Green Cycle and Ring Cycle in Seattle, both of which were kind of peak experiences. I haven't yet become what they call a ring nut, wandering the world in search of new productions for me. Whereas my husband says, this road can only lead one place, by road. So what is it I like about opera? And I think a lot of it is the intense emotional and aesthetic experience it provokes in me, and that is what it shares with poetry. So that's my spiel today. Do you have any questions? Yes?
How did you get from science to poetry?
They were really parallel paths. I, like most people, I think, who write poetry, started writing poetry very young. And it was always a part of my life. I was writing as in high school. I was writing a little as an undergrad, started writing a lot more as a grad student. And then when I moved to Toronto, I started publishing, but then my career and other aspects of my life kind of took over, but I still continued to write. I just, I wasn't as big a part of it. And I think, my own personal history was that there was a lot of value placed on my becoming a scientist. There was less value placed on So, to me, it was always very important, but I was very interested in science. So, it was just the two were living in me. And I think when I first started writing, in my late 20s, I would really include the idioms of science. And then they almost got to be like, I want a break from that, so I would not deal with that at all. And now I've come back to doing that more again. And I was at the AWP meeting in Portland, and there's so much enthusiasm for science and poetry. But I noticed, and there weren't, at these panels I would go to, people who were actually scientists. And so I met some scientist poets. There's some wonderful scientist poets in Canada, Kim Waltman, Borson, Liz Howard, Jim Johnstone. So I just put in a proposal with some of these people here and with people I met there to do a panel. It's hard to get a panel in TAWP, but I I hope that we can, and we can talk about how the lexicon of science, ideas of science, can really engage with poetry in a fruitful way. And
Yeah, it was
so,
great. Somebody in Calgary,
yeah, I don't know him as well. I mean, of course, there's also.
You have to get one.
Okay, all right, well, you have to tell me that. I mean, there are many, and both in the US and here. There are poets who have come, not started from science, but kind of ended up there and really engaged with it in a very serious way. Adam Dickinson, I think, is one, anatomic, heard him there. And so, yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Any other
Okay.
questions?
Well, are we ready for a break? I just want to say again, thank you for listening, for your presence,